Hey guys, how are you doing? How's your day going? And if you're just starting, how's your night? Hope you had or are having an amazing and a beautiful day. I am, and we're just gonna jump into our video for today. So in today's video, we're going to cover setting up of Python. We're going to cover your Python syntax, comments. We're going to cover operators, and we are going to cover inputs and outputs in Python. So let's just jump right into it. If you are working on your system, to download it, you just go to python.org and it's going to take you to their downloads page. On that page, you are going to find different systems, different Python softwares, and you download the one that favors the current operating system that you are running on. So we have there are different releases. I think right now the recent one is 3.11, maybe 3.11. So you can download if you are using Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and whatever other programming language it is, operating system it is you're using. Once you download your Python and you run it, you are going to have a pop-up screen which once you are going through and like skimming through it, you see an option asking you to add Python to parts. Always add your Python to parts. But if you have already installed it and let's say you forgot to add it to parts, I don't really know how to do so for Mac OS or any other operating system. So you can check that out for yourself. But you run this edit the system environment variables, and you're going to see these environment variables up here. I'm sorry, down there. You click on it and you'd come to here user variables for whatever your system name is. You find where the path to your Python is, and if you don't have this path stuff already created, you can add a new one. Else if you do, you can edit it and just add your Python path, that is the location where your Python was installed on your system, to it. So now that we have Python installed, the next thing we want to do is creating an environment for us to run Python on. So when you're doing this, you can either download a text editor or an IDE. So for a Python IDE, one of the best IDEs to make use of is PyCharm. It was created specifically to tend to your Python needs. Personally, I try to use it as little as possible. It's just it's an unpopular opinion. I don't really like the PyCharm environment. I'm not like it's very good, yes, but it's just I don't like the look. I don't like how it feels. But if you are comfortable, if it's something that you enjoy using, then you can feel free to um download PyCharm. I use it once in a while, so I'm going to leave the link to PyCharm in the description below. Another text editor is Sublime Text. It's also a very good text editor. That was the first text editor I actually used once I started programming newly. So if that's of interest to you, you can use it. Although one issue I have, I don't think you can run codes directly on Sublime Text. So I don't really like using it. Another one is Notepad plus plus. This is also a good Python environment. As you can see, it's I use this to like I'm just showing the ones I use. I know there are a lot more. Like I think Anaconda never used it in my life. But as for me though, the programming language the text editor that I make use of every single time I'm working on any single project is Visual Studio Code. So I would leave the link to all these text editors and the IDEs in the description below if you are interested in downloading that. If not, let's jump right into our first program. So if you are creating a Python program, you have to save the name of the Python with an extension .py. So I'm just going to create a new Python program. I already have this test up and run, but let's just create a new one that we're going to work with here. Let's call it file.py. If it doesn't have that .py at the end, it's not going to be recognized as a Python file. So once we create it and we're running, we're going to just write our very first Python element. And as we all know, in the history of programming, your very first program should always be hello world. Save that. Now, running a Python program is very, very simple. You can either run it directly from your code editor if it has the feature of running its own terminals. If not, you open your command prompt, change your location to the directory of where your file is currently saved at, and you pass in this code Python then the name of your file, include the extension .py, save it, and ladies and gentlemen, we just printed our very first Python program. Congratulations. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of people always say that Python is one of the easiest programming languages, the best programming language for beginners, and that's because the syntax working around Python is very, very, very smooth. It's very easy, it's very user friendly. Okay, next, let's jump into comments. So now in comments, you're commenting in strings. Okay, what is a comment? A comment is that section of your code that your compiler or your terminal doesn't read. So it's kind of like a personal documentation for you, the person who has access to the main program, so that you can always know where you stopped off or what a section of code is used for. And commenting in Python is just passing your simple hashtag ID that. So you just pass in your hashtag and it's going to comment out that section. So if I were to save this now and run it again, nothing is going to happen because there's nothing that is given to the compiler to read. I've commented out the whole um program. But there's also another type of comment called docstring. This is usually popular when you start working with functions, but you can also use it in your main programming language. So it's just three of this stuff, and it allows you to comment multi-line comment. So if you're using hashtag for each line you jump to, you have to call the hashtag again. But using these docstrings, you can just keep on writing until you are tired, and you can just continue with um whatever it is that you want to. Now, let's jump into variables. What is a variable? So a variable is a container that is used to hold data. I don't know if that explains to you. So, for example, I want to create a name action, and I want to be able to access it without having to call that name. I can create a new container, maybe call the name of that container name, and assign the data, which is the name of the person I want to collect, into that variable. And calling a variable in Python is very, very easy. If I want to call a new variable, I can just do so by calling the variable name. Let's say I wanted to call num, using the assignment operator or the equal, and passing in what I want to equate into, that maybe 19. And like this, I have called a variable. Then throughout the program, you can now start accessing that variable by making use of print. And when you want to print a variable, so if you are printing a string, it must be printed within this your inverted comma. If you are printing a number, you can just pass the number like that. And if you are printing a variable, you can just pass the variable like that. So there we have printed the variable. So what else do I want us to cover in this specific video? Okay, let's look into different operators. I just mentioned the assignment operators. So there are multiple types of operators in Python. I'm just going to quickly brush through these. We're not really diving in. As we progress, we're going to start making use of them. So the first type, the most popular type, the arithmetic operator. This is where you have your addition, that is the basic addition that everybody's familiar with. You have your subtraction, that is still your common subtraction. You have your multiplication, which is an asterisk. You have your division, which is just this I don't know what you call this stuff, this just this backslash. Then you have your models. So models, when you divide something, it will pass out the number and the remainder. Models though, models is used to only check the remainder and is represented with the percentage symbol. So models only used to get the remainder, while floor division is used to get the number you divided without the remainder. So division is to get the exact number you divided. That is a single backslash. A double backslash is called floor division, which gives you the output of what you divided without the remainder. Whilst modules, that is the percentage, returns the remainder without the main function you divided. So I don't know if that explains it for you very well. And then you have exponentiation. Exponentiation is your raised to the power of. So that is double asterisk. So um if I wanted to do print, let me just print it. If I wanted to do 2 raised to the power of 2, I'll do double asterisk, not triple. 2 raised to the power of 2. If I save this and I run it, 2 raised to the power of 2 is 4. So next we have the assignment operator. This is used to pass in values into variables. For example, the one we call, which is equal sign. And after you want, when you want to knock out more, the rest of the assignment operator is just implementing your equal sign with other operators. For example, if I had an operator called norm and I assigned the value 2 to it, and maybe as my project kept progressing and I wanted to make changes to 2, maybe I wanted to add an interest to 2, so and I wanted to increase it, maybe I wanted to multiply 2 by 3. Instead of doing norm is equals to 2 times 3 again, or having to call the whole value, I could just call the norm, especially since I want to assign the new value still into this variable norm. And first I'm going to call the action I want to carry out, which is multiply. Then I'm going to equate it and the number I want to multiply it by. So now if I print, if sorry, now if I were to print norm, I should get 6. There we go. So assignment operators, aside from multiplication, you can pass in any other operator before the equation sign, and after it's going to be the number you want to carry out that action with. Next, you have your comparison operators. These come in hand when you start working with control flow. So we're going to get into that, I think, 2 3 days from now. So you have your equal to, which is a double equal sign. You have not equal to, that is an exclamation mark and an equal sign. You have greater than, you have less than, you have greater than or equal to, and you have less than or equal to. Then we have our logical operators. I don't know if you remember logic gate. So the first one is the and, that if all statements are true, the and will return true. Whilst or says that if at least one statement is true, the or is going to return true. And not is kind of like the reverse. So if you had true, you're going to get false, and if you had false, you're going to get true. Yeah. And there's also your identity operators. This comes when you start working with arrays, that is your list, your dictionaries, even your strings. So this used to check if something, that is this identity, sorry, this I'm sorry, I'm defining membership operators. Identity operators is used to compare objects to check if something is this. So you have is and is not. While membership operators is the one I was defining. So it's used to check if something exists in a given data collection, usually a data structure or whatever. So you have in and not in. So you can check if A in I. We are going to get into that very soon. Even we make use of it a lot in for loops. So we'll jump into that very, very soon. And then there's the bitwise operator, which, if I'm to be sincere, I still don't fully understand. So I'm not going to bother jumping into it. But if you have any need for that, feel free to check out some other videos on YouTube. But yeah, that is all for this video. So join us tomorrow as we start working with strings manipulation. We're working with different functions that revolve around string, where you would have what do you call it, working with strips, splits. But as for today, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it to anyone who this video may help. And if you need any resources, the links to every single thing, including the exercises for this particular intro we just did, collection of the notes, the main summary of the notes for this course, and the links to all the text editor, if you're interested in that, would all be in the description below. And whilst you're down there, give this video a like, leave a comment. If you have any question, feel free to ask. And I go live every day on TikTok by 11 p.m. West African time. If you would like to have a live tutorial, ask me a question live, do check that out. But as for now, thank you all for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.